We had Ivan Yates on with us on Monday night on our Upfront programme, and his take on it was that RTE has to slim down dramatically and move towards the publisher broadcaster model. That is, of course, Channel 4, the model that Channel 4 was built around. Now, I know you've made programmes for Channel 4. Can you talk to me about, just to explain to people how that might work, how that model works?
Yeah, I've made about 40 films for Channel 4. It's like the bulk of my journalism career was at Channel 4. I loved it. I don't think it's a bad idea. So I made documentaries for both Dispatches and Unreported World. So one was the domestic investigative series, which is Dispatches. The other was their foreign affairs series, both hugely respected programs that really did groundbreaking journalism. None of them were made in-house. So every single one of those programs was made by production companies. For example, Unreported World, we made it in Oxford in a production company out there. And with Dispatches, they had various different production companies make them all over England and even in Belfast as well. So that's the broadcast model. Channel 4 is publicly owned but commercially funded. You know, it has advertising as well. I don't think it's a bad model to explore. It's not an overnight thing. I think with Channel 4, I've heard this argument before, but with Channel 4, their whole DNA is based on risk taking. So, you know, RTE would, from what I understand, need quite a rethink. And, you know, you need a carte blanche in front of you to have the right people there taking calculated risks, willing to go the extra mile, go against the grain, annoy people, but like open up conversations that have never been opened up before, or go to territories that just you wouldn't normally go to. And I think I loved working at Channel 4. You know, it was my bread and butter. I learned so much. It was so hard, and it was a baptism of fire in many, many ways. But it is a wonderful place. I'm so thankful they were saved in the end. But the other thing I would say about Channel 4, what they were very good at, it's a very diverse place. And that's why the output was so good, because it was coming from different people. It wasn't just a bunch of, sorry to say, but like white posh men at the top who were dictating what we should see and what we want to know and what we want to learn about. Like, that wasn't the case. And I would say BBC Three is similar. Like, their DNA is quite similar. You'll have young people as commissioners, really diverse people from different walks of life, different nationalities, different religions. You know, all of that is really, really important if you wanted a model like Channel 4. It's not an overnight fix, but it would require a complete rethink, I suspect.
To say, I mean, if people aren't familiar with your work, you did some amazing work for Channel 4 over those years. I mean, for both the Dispatches and the Undiscovered World. Just talk me through, like, what is the one you're most proud of from that output?
I mean, there's so many. What I loved when I was a junior producer at Channel 4, you know, one thing I was the person who came with ideas. I recognize that, you know, I might not be the best journalist there, or I mightn't, you know, have the right credentials from Oxford or Cambridge, but what I did have was the ideas. And I remember my commissioner, a wonderful Belfast woman, saying to me one day, this was 2013, I really want you to come up with something from Iraq this year. And this was kind of pre-ISIS. So she was like, but I really want to see something with both Shia and Sunni people, and not bombs. Like, that's, you know, that's usually the usual output, right, that we see. So I said, okay, great. And I went away, and I remember late one night watching ballet on the BBC, and it was just so beautiful. And I was like, oh, it's just so peaceful to watch. And then I thought, wow, I wonder, is there a ballet school in Baghdad? And so I started, this is my process, kind of start reverse engineering into a situation where I found, I think it was an LA Times article from the 90s that described the most like beautiful oasis in Baghdad, where both Sunni, Shia, Christian boys and girls came to perform and pursue their art. And I rang my fixer the next day in Baghdad, and I said, hey, can you check to see if this story still exists? And he was like, are you crazy? Like, this is the most ridiculous story I've ever heard. Of course, we're not doing that. We're going to do, you know, follow the fire ambulance or a fire brigade rather. So anyway, he got back to me and he said, yeah, it does exist. It's kind of in a clandestine place now, but kids do cross the city and dodge bombs to go and become ballerinas. So anyway,
that is such a brilliant story.
Yeah, dancing in the danger zone. It was great. And like stuff like that. Like I was so proud of that because it was thinking outside of the box. It was like, I knew the audience would get the kids because, they were just like you and I. They have, they're passionate about something and they are willing to risk their lives to pursue their passion. And it went down a treat, and it just showed Baghdad in a very different light than what we were seeing at the time, because it was a very kind of hot summer there. There was a lot of bombs going off, and it was just something so different, so beautiful, and just showed real people. There were so many moments like that at Channel 4. But again, it was this open space where I would knock on the door or text the commissioner, you have to come for a coffee with me. I'm sitting in this amazing story. I have access, blah, blah, blah. Come and talk to me. And, bless her, she always would entertain me. But like that's the process in Channel 4. Open doors, risk takers, crazy ideas, not laughed at. Well, sometimes laughed at, but getting stuff done and getting stuff across the line was hugely, hugely fulfilling.